Good evening, children.
So, before we get into talking about high school, which is what we kind of agreed upon, you had an interesting experience last weekend with a female.
Yes, I did.
And I got like bits and pieces through text. I'm going to need, just for clarification for myself, and I didn't tell you I wanted to talk about this beforehand, but I just need clarification on what the fuck happened with that.
All right. So this is a woman that I had talked to years ago who at the time I didn't know was 16 at the time.
Right. We talked about her in the past.
Yes. And the week before we went and got coffee and, we're texting and shit and she's saying some very filthy things. Maybe I also said some stuff.
I don't give a shit what you said. Give me an example of what she said.
Maybe I sent a picture and she says something like, I need it in my mouth.
Okay, nice.
Maybe she said I wouldn't last long with the blowjobs, but that's fine because she swallows. And
very nice.
Yeah, exactly, right? I was like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, you trooper. So,
you could put this thing in your mouth?
You poor soul. Much like a Jolly Rancher. But, so, and of course, shortly after that, we're like, yeah, no, we should get coffee again. So we go and get coffee. We did not stay in the coffee shop for long. Went to Big B and Granger.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I didn't mind meeting halfway. 20-minute drive from me.
Okay.
All right, so meet there. We get the coffee. We're sitting there for like 2 minutes. She's like, want to go out to my car? And I'm like, sure. All right, knowing what's going on.
Right.
So we just start making out.
Hold on. Let's preface this. You told me you knocked one out before you went there, right?
That I did.
Okay.
I did knock one out. I knocked one out before. Knocked one out earlier in the day as well.
So you're already you're already 2 nuts deep, yeah.
Yeah, I'm running out of fumes. But I knocked one out before because I was like, I want to look like a little bitch. Come in 30 seconds.
Right.
Which is actually why I left so early last week. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
But, we didn't meet up until, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So I was like, what the fuck?
Right.
God damn it. I just wanted to go to sleep early. So, making out. Things start going. And, she starts blowing me, and she's a real trooper. She went at this for about 45 minutes.
Good God.
I know, right?
Was it not good, or was it just you were tapped dry?
Oh, I was tapped dry.
Okay.
I knew about 20 minutes in. I was like...
It took you 20 minutes?
Well, I mean, I was fully good to go, but there was nothing going to come out.
Right.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
Right.
About 20 minutes in, she mentioned, pretty sure that you jerked off before you came over. And I'm like, oh, what gave you that idea? Well, literally, that's why I said, well, what gives you that idea? And, then about 20 minutes in, and then another 20. So 40 minutes into this. My dick's kind of hurting a little bit. Kind of getting a little bit irritated. I'm like, this is going to have to stop soon.
So is it hurting it's sore or like rug burn on it?
It's like fucking rug burn in a way.
How the fuck was she sucking your dick?
Well, because she's also jerking me off too.
Okay, yeah.
So, about 5 minutes later, it is unfucking bearable.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to pee too, and I'm not going to just piss in her mouth.
Why not?
Actually, I should have asked.
Right.
Always ask first.
Right. Okay, so that makes sense because you were telling me you were so sensitive. I thought it was like that, after you come sensitive where you're like twitching, but
No.
you're saying you were just so raw from.
Raw, had to pee, all that.
Right.
So I say, hey, hey, stop that. And she doesn't stop. I'm like, no, seriously. Hey, stop. And the panic's going in my voice.
She's probably thinking you're saying stop because you're going to come. And she's.
Maybe. But then, so twice. Then I asked a third time.
Mm-hmm.
Then the fourth time I grab her hand and I'm like, no, seriously. You gotta fucking stop.
I'm going to need you to stop that.
And she looked at me like I was the bad guy. Yeah, no, she was fucking, like, I was mad because my dick's raw and I got pissed. She's mad at me because I told her to stop. And she goes, because in all honesty, I thought that, I thought I was going to finish
Right.
earlier on.
Right.
I still had belief 20 minutes in. I still had that little bit of belief. Because she said, well, you should have had me stop when I mentioned something like 15,
Right.
20 minutes ago. And I go, I still thought I was going to be able to.
Right.
Now it just fucking hurts.
Oh, my God.
So, leave, I'm all fucking pissed. Like, I was texting you, I was like pissed because, like, my dick's hurting and I got to drive home 20 minutes. And then she's fucking pissed at me, and then, end up just like, stop talking, and it's like, God damn it.
So the real question, to me, after all this is, after you got home, did you pull one final one out?
I don't remember. I might have. Like 45 minutes later, I might have fought through the pain.
Right. I think we got our first midweek confession clip.
What?
The first 7 minutes of this podcast we can clip out and add as its own little video snippet. Dirty's horrible blowjob experience.
I wouldn't say it was horrible. I mean, overall, it was top notch.
Oh my God. Real quick before we go on, I can't remember who it was. I got a blowjob from somebody who used teeth, like scraping her teeth on my dick.
I know who.
Who? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, that was the worst. Like my dick was hard because like it was in somebody's mouth.
Of course.
But then it was also like and I'm like trying to silently like, yeah, that's what it was. And she like grabbed my dick tight and like pulled the skin down. So it was like, I don't know how to explain. If you've got a dick, you're gonna understand what I mean. She gripped it maybe 3/4 of the way down tightly, and then pulled her hand the rest of the way down. So the skin was pulled so tight on my whole dick that it was already painful.
Like she's trying to like rip it invertedly.
Yeah, like she's trying to push that motherfucker back in there.
She's trying to rip off what skin you got on there.
Yeah,
my teeth won't do it. My hands will.
Yeah, and then like she was like doing it, and I'm like, this is not gonna be good. So like she's going at it, and it doesn't even feel good. Like I'm only hard because the fact that it's in somebody's mouth. That's it. And maybe 10 minutes into it, I'm like, hey, can I give you some pointers? And she got offended. So and then that was the whole when I tried to have sex with her and like couldn't get it in, and then finally got it in, and I fucked her for like 2 hours.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, everything but the 2 hours sounds like 26 years of my life.
Yeah, no, that was fucked her forever, and then like I was not coming. She's like, do you want to put some porn on or something? Will that make you come? Like,
could you leave the room? That might make me come.
Yeah, well she had already came like a couple. She had already came multiple times. I don't know how many, but it was to the point where I was just like jackhammering into her to try to get my cum to come out. Like, it was just a chore at this point. Like,
Oh, I've been there.
like you already go through the whole like motions of it feels good, this is great, this is awesome, and it's like, all right, can we get this fucking over with?
Oh yeah, next thing you know, you're fucking drenched in sweat. Then after you're done, then you go into the kitchen. She's like, "Hey, can you bring me something to drink?" I'm like, "Bitch, I did all the work.
Well,
I'm thirsty."
that was the night after I had finally came, um, because this was years ago, and I snuck her in my window, because I was living with my parents were still together. I was living there at the time, and she tried to like fall asleep in my bed. I'm like, no, you got to leave. She's like, what? But I'm tired. I'm like, yeah, you can't stay here. Like, just so matter of factly and bluntly, and I realize it now that I came off as an asshole, but yeah. So basically, I fucked her for multiple hours, had the worst blowjob of my life, and then made her leave.
I never get to make them leave.
And now she does cocaine and all those party drugs, ecstasy, Molly.
So they're saying I have a shot.
No, she's dating a douchebag. She's
Yeah,
dating a dude with.
I know
I
who
think
it is.
does he got a face tattoo?
He should have a different face. But yeah.
All right. Anyways, back on topic. We wasted a good 11 and a half minutes there.
High school. How do you want to do this? You want to do all 4 years in one shot, or you want to do 2 years at a time?
Let's do 2 at a time, because I feel like for me at least, like,
You have a lot more experiences than I did.
yes.
I don't know. You start off.
So I'll preface this with I moved into the school system where we live now before 7th grade. So I had 7th and 8th grade here before high school started. Because that was the most retarded shit I ever said. God. So I was always... And I don't say this to brag or whatever. I was always very intelligent, but I don't want to say grounded, but like when you think of the smarter kids or the more intelligent kids in school, you think of the nerds, the geeks who hang out with each other and they only do homework and whatever. But I was always one who, like, I was just naturally smart. And then in my free time, I would play video games and do the same stupid shit that everyone does. So, I always kind of fell in weird. Like all my friends through middle school when I moved here, and starting out in high school, they were like the quote unquote bad kids, because I was painfully shy. So like I wasn't one to try to make friends. Just whoever talked to me, I would talk back to them, and it was just always the bad kids or the trashy kids who would talk to me. So that's kind of the group I fell into. So I started.
It's kind of weird too because you stuck with that group.
I did. I did. Even though, and I'll get into this kinda. Even though like the more popular kids and some of the more popular girls tried to kind of pull me into their group, like I was at the point to where like they seemed kind of fake to me, and I knew the kids I was hanging out with were generally bad kids, but I knew if I said something or they said something to me, it was legit. It was 100%. There was no fakeness. There was no nothing. If I did something wrong or that they perceived as wrong, they would say something to me and we'd talk about it. Whereas in that whole group, you know, it's all smiles and laughs and everybody talks behind each other's backs. Oh, okay. So I started think I started drinking 8th grade year. It was some point between the start of 8th grade year and the start of freshman year. I can't remember. I started smoking cigarettes 7th grade year. So, God, holy shit. I'm trying to run through all this in my brain because I didn't really mentally prepare myself before this. Yeah, I had not smoked. I smoked cigarettes and I drank, but like all my friends kind of smoked weed and whatever, and I was never like really into it. I kind of like wanted to try it, but it wasn't a big thing for me. The first time I ever smoked weed was September, October. I want to say it was October of freshman year, because I remember our friend TJ. He had a brother or a cousin or somebody who like sold it. And this is old weed. This isn't weed of now. This is like bullshit. Like, it'd be like dirt weed now. Like, $5 for a gram. Whatever, cheap stuff.
Yeah.
And we bought. I think we bought like $20 worth. And the first time I smoked it was so TJ hit before this. He had talked to everybody, told everybody how he smoked all the time, blah blah blah. But truthfully, he had never smoked before, so we were both excited to smoke. And he stayed at my house, and he stayed over on like a Friday after school. And we stayed up all night, so excited to smoke. So we stayed up all night, and then at 6 a.m, we went on a walk. We said we were going to the gas station, and we didn't have anything to put the weed in. So I had the brilliant idea to get some Scotch tape and paper towels, and I grabbed a paper towel, ripped paper towel off the roll, and we walked to the cemetery on the way to the gas station, and we rolled the worst joint in history in a paper towel and taped it shut with Scotch tape. And I smoked my first joint then. And there was so little in there that I didn't get high. Like, I mean, I guess you can say I got high, but it wasn't like a high. It was, I just wasn't. I just wasn't all there. The same way, like, can you hand me that bottle? The same way, like, you have a couple drinks and you're feeling all right, but you're not drunk or tipsy. You're just, it's in you, and you can tell that it's in you. Hold on. Maybe, you don't know. I think it was either that same weekend or the weekend after. It was the following weekend. Apparently TJ had went back and told his whoever that's how we smoked, and his cousin or brother or whatever showed him how to make I don't know what the fuck. I'm so bad on terminology now, but to smoke it out of a pop can.
Yeah.
So it was me, TJ, and these two girls. And we didn't fucking know. We had one of those like 16 ounce, you know, the 16 ounce cans of pop. We had one of those, and we made the bowl. And nobody had told me how to smoke weed. Like, especially being, this is my first time actually smoking it, not 86 cents worth of weed inside a paper towel. This is like we're smoking a substantial amount. So it's the four of us, and we got it. We're sitting in this park in the woods, and I hit it, I pass it, they pass it, it comes back to me, I hit it, and nobody wants to take it. They're all preoccupied doing, this is back before cell phones, people are on their iPods and just doing, I think TJ was making out with one of the girls, so I keep fucking hitting the thing, and hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And I smoked almost all of what we had, which was the remaining $18 worth of weed. So we finish at whatever 15 minutes later, and we go to stand up to walk to the gas station because we're all hungry and thirsty. We walk, and you know, do you remember where, this is a totally different story, do you remember where Chet did the butt chug?
Yeah.
Do you remember how far it is from there to like where the benches are at that school?
Yeah.
We made it to the not quite to the benches, and I had what I now know is a panic attack. That was one of the strongest panic attacks I've had in my life. I don't know. I started shaking, and I was scared because I knew for a fact that I was going to die. Like, in my brain, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Or that's what was happening. So, TJ, as fucked up as he was a really good friend. Like, he actually gave a shit. He fucking sprinted across the road to the gas station. He got me a bottle of Mountain Dew and like 6 fudge rounds. And he's like, drink this, eat this, you're going to feel better. And I've got my head down, laying on the table, and I got the Mountain Dew, and I can't pick my head up, so I'm like pouring it into my mouth to try to like get it in, because I was cotton mouthing so bad, but I couldn't remember how to swallow. So like it was in my mouth, and it just all fell out. And the same thing with the fudge rounds for like 45 minutes. And I was still freaking out. I'm going on a fucking tangent about weed, but so after 45 minutes, I calmed down a little bit, but I was still freaking out. I'm like, we got to get home. I got to get home and lay down and go to sleep. So we start walking. I can't even fucking walk. He's like, I've got my arm around him. He's carrying me like they carry like injured football players off the field. Like, I've got all my weight on him. And this is a mile, maybe. He's carrying me like that. That's about how.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, to walk it, it's less than a mile to drive it, but to walk it, you got to go a different route. So we finally get back, and my panic attack is gone, but I have this incredible hunger that you only know when you're high. So I had I made a spaghetti, potato chip, and mayonnaise sandwich, which sounded great at the time, tasted great, but I would never in my life try again. I ate that, went to lay down. TJ came in the room with me, went to lay down. About 5 minutes later, I was like, I gotta throw up. He's like, we'll go throw up. I'm like, no, I need you to come with me. So he came with me to the bathroom, and he'll tell the story to this day. I exorcist projectile vomited into the toilet for like 30 straight seconds of just the loudest scream and the most anything that's ever came out of my body in my life expelled from my mouth. And then I went and took a 6-hour nap, I think, and then I felt great afterwards. But I've always hated the taste of pot. Until the next podcast, when we get into later years, I'll talk about that. But yes, so long story short, the first time I smoked pot was my freshman year of high school, and I don't know, my freshman year was really kind of boring and laid back for the most part. No. The popular, quote unquote popular crowd, they tried to, I don't want to say adopt me, but they tried to get me to hang out with them. There were a couple of the guys, I I can't remember their last names. Brad something. And a couple of them would always like try to get me to like talk to them and hang out with them and go to like study hall or SRT and like just hang out with them. And those guys always kind of turned me off just with how they dressed and how they acted and whatever. The closest I ever got was and I'm going to say her name because there's a 0% chance of her listening. Sophia. I've told you this before, and I'm not sure if you believe me or not, but her last name is right next to my last name, so we had our. For anybody listening, in our school system, your study hall class was the same from freshman year through senior year, and it was grouped based on your last name. So like A through B and so on and so forth. So those of you with last names close in the alphabet, you were in the same class. Was it 2 days a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays for 4 years. An hour and a half per day. And Sophia and I sat next to each other. And me being the shy bastard that I was, I never would imagine initiating contact with her, because she was like, of the popular people, she was like one of the popular people, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, she was so fine. But we had, what was the class? We had algebra honors together. And as long as I live, I will not forget this. So the teacher in the class would try, occasionally she would try to group people outside of what, and I commend her for this. So like if this guy was a nerd and this girl was popular, or this guy was popular, she would try to group them for group projects together to try to like break down the cliques and whatever. And so she assigned us some homework or something, and Sophia and I just happened to be working on it at the same time. She's like, "Oh, hey, are you working on Miss Hicks' math homework?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, do you want to work on it together?" I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So we did, and this became like a common theme, like we talk. So she'd talk about her weekend. We'd work on the homework together, but we'd talk about our weekends and our days and like everything that went on and whatever. And
Did you mention all the scumbag shit that you were doing, or did you like tame it down around her?
what kind of scumbag shit?
Whatever the fuck you hooligans were doing.
Well, she was a drinker back then. So I would be like, "Oh yeah, hang out with my friends. We had some drinks. We played video games, whatever." She's like, "Oh, that's cool." Me and my girlfriends, we hung out. We had some drinks and just talked and gossiped and blah blah blah. It was weird because we, just through doing our math homework together, we got into like deep conversations about, she'd ask me about like the girls I liked, and like I talked about the guys she liked, and she didn't like anybody, and blah, just like weird through fucking math homework. And after a while, she got this cool like, I say cool, but like a stencil, and she would do her name. Instead of writing her name on the paper, she'd do the stencil, and it had like little hearts and stars and circles and shapes that she put around her name, and it was like almost old English letters on the stencil.
Yeah.
So like her name was all fancy, and it was a Thursday. She did hers, and I pulled my math homework out. She's like, "Hey, do you want me to do your name like I do my name?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah." And I had math third period. So we did our homework, and she did my name all fancy. And Friday we handed it in, And at the end of the class, Miss Hicks asked me to stay after. What the fuck? And she had my homework there. And she didn't say anything. She was just like looking at me. I'm like, what's going on? She's like, did you do this with your name? No, why? She was like questioning me like she's like, well, another student in this class writes their name like this. And I know what she's talking about, but my mind can't compute what she's saying. And she's like, it was almost like accusing me of like almost kind of like stalking.
I think that she was just more like, are you teaching her how to write like this, or what's going on here?
Yes. So she wasn't like offering anything up. So finally it sort of clicked. And I'm like, well, Sophia and I, like, we do our homework together, and we talk, and what and I told her what happened. She just asked me if I wanted her to write my name like she did, because I had mentioned that it looked really cool or whatever. She said, I would have never expected you two to talk to each other. And I'm like, this is what you've been trying to do for months. And like, this just happened naturally, and you're like...
That's just because you're a scumbag and she wasn't.
To be fair, back then, I was the goody-goody pretty
you were
boy.
The goodies, I won't go that far. You were the goody two-shoes of the scumbags.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was... I mean, you see all the memes. There's not so much the memes anymore, because I think the whole dynamic of high school has kind of changed now. But, like, back then it was like the jocks and the cool kids are fucking assholes, the nerds are weird, and whatever. But that was my first, and I think her first understanding of, we're all fucking people. Just because I hang out with these losers and you hang out with these douchebags doesn't mean we can't
get along.
We can't get along and have fun and hang out and
however, that never happened after school.
What do you mean?
Between you two. You missed that boat.
I was the shyest person. I found out later through Michaela in German class that she had a crush on me. That Sophia had a crush on me. And now, it's so fucking painfully obvious, to the point where I kick myself in the fucking balls.
I have several of those throughout high school.
Right.
I have several of those. Several of them that were out of my fucking league.
Right.
And I was just like, no, that can't be.
Well,
Why? Yeah. You must hate yourself.
Well, yeah, and that's... As much as we dick around, like, I don't like to play myself up. I think I'm like a normal... Sophia was hands down out of my league, in my opinion.
Straight up gorgeous.
Huh?
Straight up gorgeous.
Yeah, but by any fucking account you can have, she was... Excuse me. She was gorgeous. And like I said, this happened for almost the entire freshman year. That's... and there were other like popular kids that she would hang out with before her.
Don't you wish that you were the pussy slayer back then?
I cannot stress to you how often I think back to high school. Like, I wish I fucking knew now. I wish I knew then what I knew now, the confidence I have now, just everything.
Oh, I'd tear it up.
Right.
I'm not talking about just the women.
The boys too?
No, I'm talking...
Good God.
There's no way. Get anything I wanted. Get over here.
Come here, Chad Collins.
I'd get it. I'd got it.
Last name.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, well.
All right. So, you've gone on 2 diatribes Diatribe? I don't know. Either way. So, I guess I'll go into a couple of mine.
Okay.
I'll kind of volley off the last one that you did, except mine doesn't involve... Well, I could segue it into.
Mm-hmm.
So, this one girl, Kaylee, who I believe you had relations with.
Yep, I dated her, and we were intimate.
Yeah, sure. That's what we call it.
I put my dick inside of her.
4 strokes. So, me and her, we had biology with Miss Borger.
Yep.
That bitch. Also in our class, and I know. Fucking
Right.
hold on. You've done 20 minutes on your own.
I know.
So-
wait, actually, that's next podcast, because that was
Junior year?
senior year.
Oh, senior year?
Yep.
All right. So I have biology in Borger's class with Kaylee, Cody.
Menace? Well, ain't nobody gonna
Yeah,
fucking listen
Miguel
to
from Miguel.
this. Big Miguel?
No. Football. Miguel.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Fuck. Pedro. Remember Pedro?
He had like a blonde stripe in his hair, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I had it with them. I never really thought that she was good looking. Kaylee.
Really?
I never really, I saw that she was pretty, but I was I'm like, your personality is just, it fucking takes it for me, right?
I don't mean to jump in, but I always thought she had a extremely pretty. Her face was very pretty.
Oh, yeah.
But she was an ugly person, like as a person.
Yeah. And, and the others I mentioned, they would always talk about how hot she was, and they'd say that shit to her,
Right.
Right. I would never say anything like that. Right? But, so, one day I was in the office, and she was in the office, and she fucking just straight up asked me, she's like, why is it that, because we also had SRT together, she goes, why is it that out of all the guys in biology and in SRT, you're the only one that doesn't think I'm hot? And I straight up told her why, and she was...
Because of her personality?
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was like, huh. And she, respected that, right? Now then, and all the classes, like I am in person nowadays,
Right.
I say a lot of filthy shit. Right?
Yep.
So, while they are all saying that to her, right? Like, they're all like...
Can you turn that fucking heater off? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. But, so they're all saying shit like, oh, I'd bend you over the fucking desk and fuck you and all that shit, right? And this isn't like my full story. This is just like a segue. Because, you mentioned something about a girl, so I figured, I might as well fucking throw in one that I'm mentioning.
Right.
They're saying this, and fucking loud shit in class, she's like, not one of you has the balls to do that. And then she points over at me, he would do that. All right. Now then, in this class, so in my SRT it was different. I was in with all of the dumb people, but I was in there because 3 years middle school I didn't try, and I barely passed the 8th grade because I missed 50-something days of school.
50-something out of what, 180?
Yeah. I missed 36 the first trimester in 8th grade.
The first trimester. Our school. So our school year wasn't in middle school wasn't broken up into semesters of 90 days. It was trimesters of 60 days. So you missed 30 something.
Yeah, my mom was pissed. So in this, so if you were one of the dumb kids or prone to
dumb activities.
Yeah. So you would end up taking like 2 math classes, 2 English classes.
Oh
They
yeah,
were the same.
what do they call that? Studies?
Something like that.
Yep. Yeah. Algebra studies. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because my SRT went from A to Z last name.
Oh.
And the one across and the one across and
right next to
Hutcherson's
you. Yeah. You
was
had
the
Hutch
same.
and Ogle. Yeah.
So me and Kaylee, me, Kaylee, Miguel, and Cody were all in Ogles. Pedro was in Hutcherson's.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but and when we did this, since we had 2 math, so we had like a meeting, and it was between the biology teacher, your math teacher, and your English teacher, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably about 9, 10 weeks in, right?
Right.
As to discuss how you're doing in class.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in math class, I had fucking A.
Uh-huh.
In English, I had an A.
Right.
In biology, I had a B+. So it should be going good. Well, I had Mr. Garvin for English. Yep. He's like, he does great, does the work. Funny.
Right. Just real quick, I gotta mute my microphone real fast. Keep going with your story.
All right. And I don't remember. All right. And I don't remember what the math teacher's name was, but
what do you look like?
I don't remember what he looked like, but I remember his wife was like a student aide there, and she was fucking banging. She was hot. Jesus Christ. Like, I thought that she was like a senior. Like, I'd always sit there and try and talk to her, and then I was like, oh, wait, you're his wife? I'm like, I feel bad for you. He was like a baseball coach.
A math teacher?
Yeah, but like it wasn't Farmwald. This was like a younger coach. He was probably like a base coach or something like that.
Is it Portland?
No.
Troyer?
No.
I don't fucking know. Anyways.
All right, so he was like, yeah, he's good. Fucking bored her, so I have a B+ in her class, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I'll admit, I had a fucking attitude in that class because she talks to you like you're a fucking idiot.
Yep.
All right. So she's like, yeah, I mean, it's great. It's good. His attitude, though. I don't like your attitude in my class. I don't understand it. And I swear to God, this is probably like, when I think of high school, I think of this moment. I look at her while we're doing this. And I go, yeah. Maybe I have an attitude because you talk to the students like you talk to all of the students like we're in the first grade. You're talking about photosynthesis like it's the first time we heard it. Like it hasn't been like we haven't heard about it for the last 8 years.
You said this to her?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Garvin got fucking red in the face. He spun his chair around and started laughing. The math teacher, he put his hands up like this, like up over his eyebrows and started looking down. I go, so yeah, if I have an attitude, it probably has to do with the way that you teach.
That is amazing. Did she have a reaction or?
You're free to go. You can go back to class. I'm like, thank you.
That is amazing.
Nothing. She never said a damn thing the rest of the year.
I fucking hate her.
Don't you goddamn go into it because you've already done 2 fucking stories.
What?
Oh.
Going to what?
Well, I thought that you were going to go into a third story. I was about to say.
Do you want one more story before my story?
Well, yeah, all right. So, like you said earlier, you had
Sophia?
You started smoke. No.
Oh,
no.
smoking?
This has to do with like smoking cigarettes, drinking, weed. Mm-hmm. You got an early start on me.
On what? All of it or?
All of it, except for pills.
Fucking middle school dirty popping pills.
No, I didn't do it in middle school. So I didn't smoke until I was a junior.
Uh huh.
And that was
Smoke
like late
weed or
cigarettes.
Okay.
Smoked weed in sophomore year.
Right.
I drank freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And I took pills freshman year. All right. So, this is going to sound really stupid. But I remember having health class. And, like, you know, they go through. And you know how it is. They're like, fucking weed is terrible for you and all this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, come to find out,
It's not.
yeah. Fucking thanks, Goshen High School.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like,
Do you want any of this, or do you have a drink?
yeah, I might want that.
Okay.
But, so, you know, I go through health class and they're like, fuck, weed's terrible for you, all this shit. So, now, my mom, she has, like, prescriptions. She has, like, Vicodin left over and these muscle relaxers and shit, right? And in health class, I'm like, oh, I'll just take the prescription ones because those are prescribed. Those are almost they're prescribed by a doctor. They're like healthy for you,
Right. Yeah, stupid, childish reasoning.
So because of health class, I started fucking popping pills like a madman, right? And but before that, I had started drinking. All right. I just wanted to say that I started popping pills back then because there's going to be a lot of times where that's going to be brought up.
Right.
But drinking, and again, there's going to be a lot of times this is brought up. But drinking, now I started, so I was actually in wrestling in 9th grade.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And that started in, I want to say late October, mid-October. I want to say that because the football players, the football players that were also in wrestling didn't start wrestling at the same time. They started like a week or two later.
Okay.
All right. Now, I had already drank like once or twice, you know. And so I was in wrestling and hadn't really gotten into drinking. But like with me, I didn't have people over at my house because
Right.
I didn't want my mom to embarrass the shit out of me because she was ruthless.
What the fuck do you think I felt with Satan?
Your mom wouldn't all right.
Yeah.
Look,
Don't
no.
even finish that.
No. Let me say this.
Uh-huh.
Your mom knows some limits to what to say, what she would say around your friends.
For the first couple times, yeah.
My mom has no My mom had no limits.
Okay.
She would say anything.
So your mom at the first meeting would say some shit my mom at the fourth meeting would say.
Yeah.
So you could at least get acclimated a little bit.
Yeah. So I was like, no, we can't hang out at my place.
I'm going to pass.
So I would drink with my older brother, my oldest brother, who's 10 years older than me. And, you know, he'd give me some booze. We'd stay up, drink, listen to music, do whatever the fuck we're doing, right?
Right.
So wrestling season comes along. I've lost quite a bit of weight in freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll even go into a little bit. So at the time, they were like... So I was probably about 180. I was down like 35 pounds from the beginning of freshman year. So this is like...
Holy shit.
So from beginning of freshman year in August to early October, I'm down 35 pounds. Because I'm just, like, I'm fucking lifting weights like a madman. I'm fucking running and shit. And, you know, doing wrestling. And, and I actually ended up staying with wrestling until early December. Because fucking the week before Thanksgiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the first, it's not like a meet, it's like a tournament. It's the first tournament.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, this is going to be great. Well, there was like some fucking killers in 185. Now, I weighed 180.
Mm-hmm.
I was not wrestling with those, or 189. I was not wrestling with those motherfuckers.
Right.
So I was like, I'll wrestle 215. 35 pounds under the fucking weight limit.
Holy
right?
shit, right.
I almost made varsity that year. Freshman year.
Wow.
Not because of my talent. I sucked ass. But because the other two 15ers were out on entry.
Oh, okay.
They were
okay.
out on entry, and I only had one to compete against. But the fucking coach, he fucked my shit. He fucked my ribs up. I didn't breathe right for
Pickard?
6 months. No. He would not have inflicted this kind of damage. This was a roided up one.
Oh, just some random asshole?
Yeah, his name was Mueller.
Okay.
And I know he was roided up because he went to high school with my brother. My brother said he was like 120 all throughout high school. This motherfucker was about 240.
Holy shit.
All muscle. And he fucking drove his shoulder. He took me down and he drove it. So he picked me up. He slammed me down. He drove his shoulder into my fucking ribs.
Dude, fuck that.
I'm telling you, I could not breathe. This is the night before the fucking tournament. And I couldn't breathe right. So I ended up going 0 for 4 in that tournament. And amazingly, I was actually in decent shape.
Right. You're actually in decent shape.
And so I was in decent shape. And then, like, Thanksgiving, so, we had, like, a couple days off. And they were like, oh, you should run. You should make sure to, like, run while you're on break so that you don't come back and you're out of shape, right? I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that shit. Everyone else ran. I didn't. I came back and I was still in fucking great shape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, about like a week or two later, now it's like, this wrestling shit's kind of cutting into my drinking on the weekends. I ended up quitting, right? So, alright. So, there's wrestling, and this is how, so, from then on, so, there's like 4 weeks there. Where, so I'm just like drinking on the weekends. I'm not running or doing any of that shit, right? So then gym, in the second semester, the gym teacher decides we're going to run the mile right off the bat. Like the first 3 weeks in, right?
Nice.
And like, I've like gained 20 pounds from fucking drinking all this shit. And people are like looking at me like they're gonna place bets like, is he gonna make 15-minute mile?
87 minutes.
Is he gonna make 15-minute mile? Right? With all the fucking boozing and not working out, still ran that motherfucker in like 8:30.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I was fucking dead afterwards.
I want to try next time you and I go to the gym together. We should both get on the treadmill and just run a mile. See what we can do. Because
because I haven't done cardio at the gym in like a month or a month and a half.
So let's just fucking try it. I've walked. I have not ran or jogged or anything. I've walked on a steep incline, but I think my best mile ever in school was 7 minutes and 10 seconds, maybe. It was right around 7 minutes. So I just want to see where we're at now. And then maybe we do another challenge. Let's do it. Wait a month and then see what we do after that.
Well, I can tell you this. I know I could at least walk that motherfucker at probably at least 15.
You'd have to walk pretty fucking fast.
That's like going at 4 miles an hour on the treadmill.
Yeah, I guess, and I don't. I only do like a really high incline, so like doing a 12% incline at 4 miles an hour is like, okay, we're gonna need.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'd have to do it on flat, I think, to do the running, because I'm so used to doing max incline and then like 3.5 mile.
Right.
Pace.
So. Yeah. So, from what I've read, to like simulate actual like out there like, you got to put it on like a 1% incline. So we can do 1% incline and see what our mile would be. You want to do that?
I feel like it would be difficult though on the treadmill because you wouldn't know because you're going as fast as the treadmill is going. So you're not going.
But you can alter that.
Well, yeah, I know, but like when I'm on the treadmill, like if I'm running, I'm not wanting to sit there and fuck with the
Right.
speed.
Right. So that's why. Excuse me. At first, if you think
I hate to say it, I almost think it'd be better to like go to like Google Maps and then like map out a mile, or go to like a park. So like there's that park, Pringle Park over there, and they have the fucking track around.
Yep.
So if we could figure out how many laps would be a mile, I feel like that would be
Yeah. Let's fucking do it. And then we can go. Yeah, we can go from there. We're gonna have to find a nice day because it's fucking 20 degrees out now, and
yeah,
I'm not doing that shit right now.
Yeah, I know. I was actually thinking about that a few weeks ago. Like I kind of want to move next, because like there's the apartments over there. I kind of want to move next to a park that has a little track around, so I can run.
Well, if we could get my dad out of his house, we can go there and then that fucking trail to the college.
Get your dad on that.
Get that motherfucker out. Can you hand me that cup of pop? So we went pretty long on this.
Yeah. So I just want to say that it doesn't matter if it's recording or not. So since we've done an hour into freshman year, if you're wanting to, because I know that we tend to go to your dad's on Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
If we can cut that shit down, say to like 7:30, we get back, eat. I say we fucking podcast the rest of the high school, and then do our
other things. Yeah. And we can talk about that tomorrow. But I've got one more freshman year story before we wrap this up.
Jesus Christ! Hey, are we doing the other one today?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God! I would forget it.
Yeah. No, we're all set up. But so the first time I ever got any sort of suspension, freshman year. I don't know if you know this or if anybody who may be listening knows this, but there's a diploma. It's called an IB diploma, International Baccalaureate. It's like the highest diploma in the country. In 8th grade year, excuse me, there was a meeting and they took a bunch of us and our parents to it to try to get us to go into the IB diploma program. No, I've got some more. Is there another one in there? So anyways, I was on track to get this IB diploma. And part of that was taking some classes that you normally take junior or senior year, freshman year. So I took government class freshman year. One of the people in my class was our friend TJ. And we had I don't remember the specifics to it, but we had a mock trial on something. I was on the jury and TJ was the bailiff. And closing arguments had wrapped up and the jury went to our room to deliberate. And this was legit. Like, TJ was standing by the door as the bailiff, guarding everything. We were like in a heated debate. And deliberations for that day were over. Deliberations as a whole weren't over, but that day we were done. And as we were walking out, TJ was like trying to be a badass as the bailiff cop, and he like faked a punch at me. Well, I went to jump, and I wasn't paying attention, and I jumped into his punch, and he connected with me. He knocked the wind out of me, so like I couldn't breathe, like I was gasping for air, and I walked back into the classroom, which was right across the hall, gasping for air. And this was a Friday. It was an early release day, so instead of getting out at 3:15, we're getting out at 1:15. Well, I'm gasping for air, and we had this class 7th period, so it's like 1:08, and the teacher's talking to us, and I'm trying to talk and explain what happened, but I can't fucking breathe, and he's laughing, and I'm laughing, and it's a fucking nightmare. So she takes us to the office. Well, our normal principal was out, so the gym teacher / wrestling coach was the fill-in principal for that day, Pickard. And my adrenaline got going so high. I don't remember exactly what all happened, but they called his mom and my mom. It took until like 2 o'clock for them to call our parents. And by the time my mom and his mom got there, it was almost 3. So I'm fucking livid because we were supposed to have an early release. TJ was supposed to come over to my house. We were going to hang out. We had all these plans to do, like, for this whole time. He's going to ride the bus with me, blah, blah, blah. My mom had to leave work. Oh my God, she was pissed. And, so, they had me and TJ separated in the office. All that I found out later, they called my mom and said there was an incident. Steve was in a fight. He's okay, but you need to come get him. So she came to the school freaking out, and the nurse met my mom at the welcome center where you walk in. And the nurse was like, he's okay. He just got punched. The wind's knocked out of him, blah, blah, blah. And they like sped walk up to the office. My mom said she walked in the office and she saw TJ just staring out the window, and he saw Becky. He saw my mom, threw his hands up and rolled his eyes. And my mom said she had been more pissed than she was in the previous 10 years at that moment, because she knew that we were dicking around and something happened. So they bring her in. I talk to her. TJ's mom shows up. She talks to TJ. I talk to my mom. We all know everything's good. Me, my mom, TJ, his mom, get into the same room, and Pickard comes in, and we're all talking and having a good time, hanging out, whatever. Pickard goes on this tangent of at least 20 minutes about horseplay and fighting, and TJ was bullying me and this and that, and he's like, I would recommend you do not to my mom, you don't let your son hang out with him because he's bullying him, blah, blah, blah. For like, by the time we got out of this fucking meeting, it was after 4 o'clock. So from 1 o'clock, this is a 3-hour, on a Friday, on a fucking early release day. We were supposed to get out at 1 o'clock. I don't get out till fucking 4. And TJ ended up going home with me and like spending the weekend with me, and we did whatever. And they suspended. I got suspended for getting hit. He punched me. They suspended me and him for Monday, which was like cool for me because I didn't have to go to school on Monday. But still, the fact that I got suspended because I got hit. It's like, what the fuck are you?
I have one more story, and it's not going to be long.
Okay.
All right. So, it's the last day of freshman year. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So, this is when if you didn't have a final, like the last final, so you took 2 finals that day, right? So, if you didn't have so I had 2 math classes, 2 English classes, and all that, 2 biology.
Right.
So, one of those 3 classes, the second class, happened to be that one. No, that's not what happened. You got out at like 1:15 or 3 o'clock or something like that, I think. You got out a little bit early on that last day.
The way finals were set up then, and thank you, because I don't have any good final stories freshman year, but sophomore year and on I do. It was 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock, it was quote-unquote study time. But you didn't have to show up for your final until 10 o'clock. And then you had a final from 10 till noon. Then you had a hour lunch period from noon to 1. And then 1 to 3 was your second final of the day. So that's how that was.
Yes. All right. So I didn't have I didn't have a final, the last final, right?
Right.
So I was like, fuck, call my mom. She'll come pick me up, right?
Mm.
Not even thinking. She was working in the RV industry. So I'm like, she's probably out by like 1, right? So, yeah, so from 1 to 3. So I call. No answer. I leave a message. Sit there. I wait for 30 minutes. I'm like, what the fuck? I go in there. I call again. No answer. I'm like, oh, God damn it. So I end up fucking walking home. And at this point, you remember where Austin lived? The apartments behind McDonald's?
Yep.
So I live all the way out there. Fucking walk home, right? That's a long walk.
Yes. You're living by college then, right?
No. This is freshman year. I was living all the way on the other side of town by that McDonald's.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So I walked all the way back there. Dude, as soon as I get there, I get there and my mom's there. She goes, I just got home. I got the message. I was just about to come and pick you up. I'm like, fucking, and it's like 3 o'clock it's like probably 2:30, 3 o'clock by the time I fucking get there. I'm like, oh fucking goddamn.
Right.
Like I didn't have to walk in the 90-degree heat. That's how fucking freshman year ended.
Yeah. Freshman year didn't end on any sort of note for me. I mean, aside from all that, the story I just told was towards the end of freshman year. So, yeah. Sophomore year got more interesting all the way up to senior year, which was very interesting. That might be a pretty fucking long podcast of ours. Describing senior year. God damn. Yep. Yeah, that's gonna be a long one. That's gonna take. We're gonna have to time it so we can get a good couple hours in there.
At least, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that might have to be a 2-part.
I'll have a lot more drinking and drug stories than that.
Yeah. I'll have drinking, drugs, sex, all that good stuff.
Can't say I'll have the sex stories in there.
I loved your head shake. Like I said, drinking, drugs. Your head's nodding yes. I said sex. Automatically,
Nope.
It's like nope.
I'm out. Whoppa.
All right, we'll go ahead and end this here then. Freshman year.
All right, freshman year. Goodbye.